Chapter 60-45. Speaking of casting materials, Lin did have a lot of them. They were the spoils of war from the past few battles. For the time being, he did not want to cast anything, so he put them in the space of the jade pendant as a reserve. If the tattered king needed them, he could take them out at any time. Well, since there is nothing else, are you going to stay and help me or come back at night to pick up the things? The tattered king shrugged. In fact, with so many good things, he could not wait to start casting. He really did not care if there was anything else. I'll come back at night and take the opportunity to see my brothers in Blue Cloud Pavilion. Lin wanted to get his hands on the flying saucer and mask as soon as possible, but since he had to visit Shangguan Tianhua at night, he'd have to wait for half a day. He might as well go visit Xiao Ran and the others at the Clear Cloud Pavilion. Alright, then I won't send you off. You can go by yourselves. The tattered king waved his hand at them and picked up Lin Yi's flying saucer. He began to peel off the excess starry sky blazing gold. This was the easiest work, and if it was delayed, it would only waste more starry sky blazing gold. For the tattered king, wasting high-level materials was the most shameful thing. Lin smiled faintly and left with Languza. He'd known the king of garbage for so many years, and he knew the guy's personality like the back of his hand. He didn't mind. Boss, isn't it time to find a place to eat? Recently my stomach is not very good. I always get hungry easily. After leaving the cave, Languza began to complain about being hungry. Lin suddenly laughed. Easy to get hungry easily with a bad stomach? His appetite was too good, right? This guy really talked about food 3 times. It was fine when he was at sea, but when he came to a crowded place, he immediately showed his true colors. If you want to eat, just say that you want to eat. Who do you think will believe that you have a bad stomach? Lin laughed and scolded. He pointed in the direction of Blue Cloud Pavilion and said, I'll take you to my place and find something for you to eat. I don't know if it tastes good, but I'll make sure you eat until you're full. Boss treats me the best. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go. Languza laughed heartily. He didn't feel guilty at all for having his lie exposed. Soon, the two of them arrived at the Blue Cloud Pavilion. Unfortunately, this time, they did not meet any acquaintances. According to the disciples of the Blue Cloud Pavilion, it seemed that Lu Bianren had taken Xiao Ran and the others to the nearby sea area to do some short-term task. They had just left for less than 3 days, and it was estimated that they would come back in 2 days. Perhaps they had calculated the time when Lin would board the ancient battleship to arrive at the northern island, but they did not expect that he would leave the northern island in advance by flying Spirit Beast alone. Although it was a pity, Lin didn't care too much about it. After all, it hadn't been many days since he came to the North Island last time, and he would come back soon after going back to Middle Island. He didn't have to worry about not having a chance to meet her. Boss, what should we do now? Are we just going to wait here until it gets dark? Languza asked in a muffled voice as he chewed. Lin scratched his head, thinking that if he had known this earlier, he would have helped the King of Rags set up the flying saucer and the mortal phenomenon earlier. It was not appropriate to go back now, and he might disturb the King of Rags. Do you want to stay here or go out with me? There are a lot of delicious food in the marketplace of the northern island. Lin didn't want to wait here foolishly. Anyway, he had some time, so it was good to take Languza for a stroll. Hearing there was delicious food, Languza immediately stood up, wiped his mouth, and said with a smile, Boss, what are we waiting for? Let's go now, or we'll miss the promised visit time. Just as he expected, Lin smiled faintly. Languza's reaction was exactly as he had expected. After leaving Blue Cloud Pavilion, they went to the marketplace of the northern island for a stroll. Seeing that it was getting dark, they went directly to the sky-reaching pavilion. Senior brother Lin, the pavilion master has told me that if you come, please go directly to the pavilion master in the study. Seeing Lin and Languza, the welcoming disciple of the sky-reaching pavilion immediately greeted them with a big smile, cupping his fists respectfully. Not to mention Lin Yi's prestige in the North Island, the fact that he was received in the study of Shanghai Tianhua was enough to make this disciple die of envy. In recent years, apart from Ramjia, Lenny seemed to be the only one among the younger generation. Okay, thank you, junior brother. Lenny smiled, cupped his fists and thanked him. Languza followed suit and followed Lenny inside. That disciple opened his mouth, wanting to say that Master Shengguan only wanted to see senior brother Lin. But then he remembered that he didn't say that he was going to see only one person. After a moment's hesitation, the two of them had already turned around the eaves and turned into the yard, so he decided not to open his mouth. If this disciple stopped Languza from entering, Lenny would naturally ask him to stay outside out of respect for Shanghai Tianhua. But since no one said that, he just followed. Senior Shengguan, Lenny is here to see you. Lenny came to the study of Shanghai Tianhua, cupped his fists respectfully, and said loudly, "Come in." There was no special emotional fluctuation in Shanghai Tianhua's voice, and Lenny didn't know whether he was happy or unhappy. But after entering, he saw Shanghai Tianhua nodding to him with a smile, and it seemed that he was in a good mood. "Lenny, long time no see. Your strength has improved a lot. And the friend beside you, his strength and potential are quite good." Shanghai Tianhua put down the writing brush in his hand, walked around the desk, and motioned Lin Yi and Lin Yi to sit down in the chairs on the side. "This is my friend Languza. Languza, come and greet Senior Shengguan." Lin Yi made a brief introduction, and then glared at Languza. This guy was usually smart, but why was he so stupid today? He didn't even know how to say hello to Shanghai Tianhua. Languza greets Senior Shengguan. Languza quickly cupped his fists, bowed, and greeted him respectfully. Honestly, he was quite happy that Shanghai Tianhua praised him, and his impression of Shanghai Tianhua naturally improved a lot. Shanghai Tianhua looked at Languza meaningfully, smiled and nodded. "Is it Languza? You're not bad. Cultivate well, and you'll have a bright future." Lenny looked at Shanghai Tianhua with some doubt. Could it be that Languza's identity as a sea serpent dragon had been exposed? Or was it purely a polite remark? In fact, even if Languza's identity was exposed, it didn't matter. It wasn't a big deal. He believed that Shanghai Tianhua wouldn't make things difficult for Lin Yi and Lin Yi because of this. "Senior Shengguan, I wanted to visit you when I passed by the North Island last time, but I didn't have the chance. Today, I finally see you." Lin Yi smiled slightly, and politely found a topic to talk about. Chapter 6046. There are indeed a lot of things that I want to talk to Senior Shengguan about. Lin Yi pondered for a while. Originally, he wanted to talk about the matters in the ancient underworld, but after thinking about it, it seemed that what happened in the extreme North Island was more important. This time, there was a large-scale sea beast tide in the extreme North Island, and there were also spies working together from both inside and outside. They almost conquered the extreme North Island. I wonder if Senior Shengguan has heard about this? After the sea beast tide in the extreme North Island subsided, Lin Yi spent 2 to 3 days concocting the recovery pill. Therefore, it was normal for the extreme North Island to receive the news. Sure enough, Shanghai Tianhua nodded slightly, indicating that he had heard about it. "What is the specific situation? Can you tell me in detail?" Shanghai Tianhua didn't say how much he knew. Perhaps he wanted to verify what Lin Yi had said. After all, even if he received the news, he wouldn't know more than Lin Yi, who had personally participated in it. "No problem. I'll start from a transformed spirit beast." Lin Yi started from the time he found the wind tiger, then the tunnel leading to the beach, the chaos in the central area of the extreme North Island, the broken formation base, the loosened defense mechanism, the powerful sea beast tide, and so on. He briefly mentioned everything about himself. So that's how it is. So many things have happened in the Northern Islands, and they almost fell. In the end, even Senior Li Lin appeared. No wonder they received a distress signal, but it was cancelled. Shengguan Tianhua had a look of understanding on his face, as he muttered softly to himself. "Senior Shengguan, did Senior Li Lin ask you for help?" Lin Yi was a little surprised. Was there some kind of agreement between the extreme North Island and the extreme North Island? But even if the extreme North Island sent reinforcements, they wouldn't be able to make it in time. "You've met Senior Li Lin, so you should already know about the super families and the Guardian Convention. So there's no problem telling you about it." Shanghai Tianhua nodded, then shook his head. I wasn't the one who received the rescue signal. It was the ancestor of the Shangguan family. Lenny suddenly understood. This should be the agreement in the Guardian Convention. Okuda Ba had mentioned it to him before. If Li Lin was in danger, the other family's sea-splitting realm-old monsters would naturally help. So Shanghai Tianhua wasn't the most powerful person in the extreme North Island. Although Lenny couldn't see his strength, he shouldn't have reached the sea-splitting realm yet. Maybe he was close to Zhuang Yifan. As for the Shangguan family that he had never heard of before, he didn't find it strange at all. There were Shangguan families in the ancient Jianghu. It was normal for them to exist on Sky-class Island. Senior Shangguan. Actually, I suspect that the incident at the extreme North Island has something to do with an organization. Lenny put the Shangguan family's matter aside and decided to bring up the main point. Let's hear it. Shanghai Tianhua nodded and didn't dwell on the topic of the ancient aristocratic families. As I mentioned just now, I caught a person who destroyed the array base. According to her confession, the whole thing was done by the South Island Auction Association. They communicated with the sea beasts through the spirit beasts, and finally formed a large-scale invasion of the far North Island. And there's another organization behind this South Island Auction Association, which I suspect is the center. In other words, it is the true core of the Central Chamber of Commerce. Lenny was talking about the information he got from Aunt Lon. As for the core, it was his own guess. I have also heard of the Central Chamber of Commerce. In fact, we have been paying attention to this organization for a long time. Not only was Shanghai Tianhua not surprised, but he also seemed to have some understanding of the Central Chamber of Commerce. Senior Shangguan, have you already noticed the center? Who are you referring to, Senior? Lenny was slightly startled, but he quickly recovered. With the speed of the Central Chamber of Commerce's expansion, it was impossible for it not to attract the attention of all the big shots on the other islands. I'm talking about my friend, the one who recently visited the North Island. We were talking about the Central Chamber of Commerce. You two can join me for dinner, and you can get to know her. Shanghai Tianhua smiled. He didn't treat Lin Yi as an outsider at all. Lang Guz's eyes lit up when he heard that he would be able to have dinner. His impression of Shanghai Tianhua instantly improved. However, Lin Yi's focus wasn't on dinner. Senior Shangguan, who is the senior you mentioned? If he wasn't mistaken, he should be the one who was going to bring Shanghai Laner to the East Continent. However, Lin Yi still didn't know who this person was. She's Zhang Jingmiao, the deputy dean of Feiyang College in the East Continent's Mystic Steppe Sea area. This time, Laner became her disciple and went to Feiyang College to cultivate with her. This girl was spoiled by me. She refused to cultivate properly in the North Island, so I could only send her to Feiyang College to be disciplined. At the mention of Shanghai Laner, Shanghai Tianhua suddenly showed a doting expression on his face. Lin Yi was sure that what he said was true. However, this wasn't the point. The point was that Shanghai Tianhua was friends with the deputy dean of a college in the Mystic Steppe Sea area. Before, Lin Yi had tried his best to overestimate Shanghai Tianhua's influence in the East Continent, but now he realized that he had underestimated him too much. The deputy dean of a college in the Mystic Steppe Sea area couldn't be compared to the Yellow Steppe Sea area. Although Zhuang Yifan was powerful in the Yellow Steppe Sea area, he might not be as popular as Zhang Jingmiao in the Mystic Steppe Sea area. You mean that the center has already attracted the attention of the Mystic Steppe Sea area in the East Continent? Lin Yi found it hard to believe. If the people of the Mystic Steppe Sea area made a move, even if the center had already set up arrangements on the other islands, they probably wouldn't be able to resist. If the center was given a few more years to develop, the result would be hard to say. You can't say that. The Mystic Steppe Sea area doesn't care much about the other islands. Zhang Jingmiao only brought out her personal experience to discuss with me. She didn't pay too much attention to the center. However, after you brought news about the extreme North Island, things might be a little different. Shanghai Tianhua smiled and waved his hand. He then said, "Let's talk about this during dinner. Now let's talk about something else." Okay. I also want Senior Zhang Jingmiao to pay attention to the center. This organization is really troublesome. Lin Yi mentioned it briefly, and then changed the topic. Senior Shangguan. I've never heard of the Shangguan family when I was in the North Island. So, the actual controller of the North Island is your family? Chapter 6047. Senior Shangguan. You said the Shangguan family is the leader. Does that mean there's more than one ancient family on the North Island? Lenny was really surprised this time. It turned out that he still didn't know much about the Heaven Stage Island. He wouldn't know how much power they had hidden under the surface until they showed it. You're very smart. You've guessed the truth with just one sentence. There are 3 ancient families on the North Island, including the Shangguan family. Their overall strength is not as good as the other islands, but their top combat strength is not inferior. Shanghai Tianhua smiled faintly. There was a hint of pride in his eyes. Lenny was secretly shocked. Apart from the Shangguan family, there were 2 other ancient families on the North Island? Their strength was absolutely shocking. I can't tell you too much about these things for now. When your strength reaches a certain level, you'll naturally come into contact with them. Now you just need to have a rough idea. Shanghai Tianhua didn't want to continue, so Lenny didn't ask which ancient families were on the North Island. Lenny knew about the Okuda family on the Middle Island, but judging from the North Island, there might be other ancient families hiding in the dark. Senior Shangguan, if that's the case, there should be ancient families on the West Island and the South Island, right? Lenny thought for a moment. The Ning family on the West Island must be one, but it was hard to say for the South Island. Sure enough, Shanghai Tianhua smiled and nodded. There are indeed ancient families on the West Island, but the South Island is a bit chaotic. I don't know what's going on right now. When the Guardian Pact was signed, the South Island was one of them. However, a long time ago, the other islands lost contact with the ancient families on the South Island. Is it because of the spirit beasts? Lenny thought this was very possible. There were many powerful warriors in the spirit beasts, especially the Azure Dragon and Vermilion Bird, who had the bloodline of divine beasts. Their strength was even more terrifying. They were invincible among their peers, and it was normal for them to fight against those at a higher level. It's possible. No one knows the real situation. Coincidentally, there's something I want to tell you about the South Island. As Shangguan Tianhua said that, he suddenly hesitated for a moment. Senior Shangguan, please tell me what you need. As long as I can do it, I won't refuse. Lenny knew that Shanghai Tianhua wanted to ask him for help, but he didn't know what to say. No problem. What kind of information does Senior Shangguan want me to get? It's nothing important. I know you'll send Lan, to the East Continent, but Vice Dean Zhang Jingmiao has to wait for the Okuda Dam's fleet to complete the round trip to the North Island, and then pick up the rest of the other islands in the East Continent. The fleet will depart in a few months. If you don't, can you help to get some information on Shangguan? Guan I Don. Guan, Shangguan said. Guan I Guan Shangguan I. But before that, I need to go back to the Middle Island. It won't take long. Lenny agreed without hesitation. Shanghai Tianhua had done him a favor. No matter what the request was, as long as it didn't violate his conscience, he would not refuse. What was more, even without Shanghai Tianhua's request, Lenny was ready to find time to go to the South Island. Apart from other things, the South Island plan of the center had always been like a fishbone in his throat. He couldn't rest assured until he solved it. Since Shanghai Laner's trip to the East Continent would take a few months, he had enough time to explore the South Island. Moreover, he would sail with Okuda Dam this time, which put Lenny in a good mood. No problem. If you have something to do, just do it. If you can spare time to go to the South Island, you can. If you can't, it's okay. Shanghai Tianhua nodded with a smile. He really wanted to ask Lin Yi for help, instead of ordering Lin Yi to do something. After a short pause, Shanghai Tianhua continued without waiting for Lin Yi to speak. Many places in the sea area near the South Continent are controlled by the Spirit Beast clan, and they collect high taxes. It's becoming more and more difficult for human cultivators to survive in that sea area. This is quite strange. Do you want me to investigate this matter? Lenny looked a little serious. In fact, he was the first to know this news. A similar thing had happened when he went to the South Island. Now it seemed that the development was out of the control of the human clan. You can say that, But I don't need you to take risks. There are many experts in the Spirit Beast clan. Although your strength is good now, it's not enough in the South Island. In the past, as long as the human cultivators in the sea area of the South Continent didn't go to the Spirit Beast forest, they basically minded their own business with the Spirit Beast clan. This time, the Spirit Beast clan suddenly invaded the living space of the human cultivators on a large scale. There must be something strange about it. Shanghai Tianhua frowned slightly and didn't know how to explain it to Lin Yi. Do you want me to find out why the Spirit Beast clan suddenly left the Spirit Beast forest? Or do you suspect that someone cooperated with the Spirit Beast clan to occupy a large area of the human cultivators' territory so easily? Lin Yi had kind of understood Shanghai Tianhua's meaning. Thinking of the center that had just been mentioned, Shanghai Tianhua was probably also suspecting that the center was behind the actions of the Spirit Beast clan. Yes, don't risk your life in the Spirit Beast forest. All you need to do is to gather information in the areas controlled by the Spirit Beast clan and find out who exactly is working with the Spirit Beast clan. I'm sure you already have some guesses in your mind, but I need more concrete evidence to prove it. Shanghai Tianhua looked quite serious. Lin Yi guessed that this matter might have something to do with the center, so he didn't dare to neglect it. I understand. I will definitely handle this matter. If I don't have to go back to the Middle Island, I even want to set off to the South Island now. If it was really the center who was playing tricks behind the scenes, maybe this was the plan of the South Island. Or maybe it was just part of the plan. In any case, Lin Yi had to get to the bottom of it as soon as possible. Not now. It's lunchtime soon. Let's go and have a simple meal first and get to know Deputy Dean Zhang Jingmiao. She's an expert. With her support, you can also do whatever you want in the East Continent in the future. Shanghai Tianhua was in a good mood and joked casually. Of course, he knew that even if Lin Yi wanted to do whatever he wanted, he always relied on his own strength instead of having someone to support him. Chapter 6048. Ha ha ha, then let's go together. Shanghai Tianhua laughed as he stood up and walked out first. Lin Yi glared at Languza. This guy really doesn't change. He doesn't forget to eat wherever he goes. It's really shameful. The three of them came to the Shangguan family's dining room unhurriedly. There were no round tables here. Instead, there were many small long tables. Each of them sat down and ate separately. Seeing this arrangement, Lin Yi suddenly felt relieved. If it was the kind of big round table where everyone was together, he was very worried that the dishes would be swept away by Languza as soon as they were served. If that happened, he really wouldn't have the face to visit the Shangguan family in the future. Shanghai Tianhua didn't know what Lin Yi was thinking. He sat down on the main seat and waved his hand casually. You can sit anywhere you want. I don't have so many rules here. Although he said so, Lin Yi didn't really dare to break the rules. The first seat on the left of the main seat must be reserved for Deputy Dean Zhang Jingmiao. If no one else came, then it shouldn't be a big problem to sit on the first seat on the right. If it wasn't in front of Shanghai Tianhua, Lin Yi wouldn't have so many scruples. Facing a respected elder would always be a little uncomfortable. Just as Lin Yi pulled Languza to the right and was about to sit down, he saw two beautiful women outside the door. One of them was Shangguan Laner, and the other was a middle-aged beautiful woman. Although her appearance was not as good as Lan, she was graceful and elegant. At first glance, people would feel a sense of respect. She was definitely not a simple person. Needless to ask, this beautiful woman was the deputy dean of Feiyang College in the Xuanjiesi area, Zhang Jingmiao. Lin Yi, you're here. Why didn't anyone inform me? Shangguan Laner saw Lin Yi as soon as she came in. She was immediately overjoyed and ran over happily. However, the curly bear was one step ahead of her. When the little guy saw Lin Yi, he quickly climbed onto his shoulder and intimately rubbed his face with his head. However, when Languza approached, the coiled bear trembled all over. It probably felt the aura of the Shanghai flood dragon. It hurriedly waved its claws at Lin Yi, jumped to the ground, and immediately ran away. Even when Shanghai Laner called out to it, it didn't look back. Left with no choice, Lin Yi could only let it go. Unruly. Shanghai Tianhua's face turned serious as he berated loudly. Even though Shanghai Tianhua had always doted on Lan Er, Zhang Jingmiao was her master now. How could she so casually greet others before her master? At the very least, he should have reported it first. Senior brother Shangguan Lan Er is innocent and naive. Don't make such a big fuss to scare her. Zhang Jingmiao smiled and waved her hand, pleading for Shanghai Laner. It seemed that she also liked this little girl very much. Junior sister Zhang, I want to find a strict master for this little girl. If you spoil her so much, won't you repeat my mistakes? Shanghai Tianhua suddenly smiled bitterly, but since Zhang Jingmiao had spoken, he couldn't say anything more. Shanghai Laner shrank her head and quietly stuck out her lilac tongue at Lin Yi. She quickly turned around and held Zhang Jingmiao's arm, saying, Master, don't listen to my grandfather. He just wants me to go out and suffer. Master, you have to be my solid support. You little girl, you need to be disciplined. Your grandfather is right. Zhang Jingmiao deliberately put on a cold face, but the smile in her eyes couldn't be concealed. It would be strange if she could scare Shanghai Laner. Lin Yi, this is Zhang Jingmiao, whom I mentioned to you before. She is now Laner's master. Junior sister Zhang. This is Lin Yi, a genius disciple of the young generation of our North Island. Shanghai Tianhua stared at Shanghai Laner, stood up, and introduced them briefly. Lin Yi pays his respect to you, senior. Lin Yi didn't dare to neglect, and saluted respectfully with his hands folded. This time, Languza was very perceptive. He didn't need to be reminded, and also saluted and greeted him in a proper manner. Lin Yi, I know you. I've heard someone mention you these days. You really have outstanding talent, and look like a talent. Zhang Jingmiao looked at Shanghai Laner with a smile. The meaningful look in his eyes suddenly made this girl blush and stamp her feet unwillingly. Shanghai Tianhua laughed and asked everyone to take a seat. Then he asked people to serve the food. Languza, you should eat gently, or I won't take you out in the future. Lin Yi secretly warned Languza that this guy's table manners were too frightening. It was okay in other places, but in front of Shanghai Tianhua and Zhang Jingmiao, he had to save some face. Languza immediately nodded with a bitter face. He thought he had always been very gentle. He didn't know what the boss understood. It's really difficult. It should be okay to divide one mouthful into two mouthfuls, right? Putting aside this guy's dilemma, Shanghai Tianhua, as the host, first toasted them and then changed the topic to the northernmost island. He asked Lin Yi to describe the situation in detail to Zhang Jingmiao again. After hearing the specific situation of the sea beast tide attacking the northernmost island, Zhang Jingmiao's expression also became somewhat serious. The sea beast tide was not rare, but the sea beast tide launched by the human clan and the spirit beast clan was really rare, especially when it was likely to involve the center. Senior brother Shangguan, do you and Lin Yi think that this matter is related to the center? Zhang Jingmiao stopped drinking and looked at Shanghai Tianhua and Lin Yi solemnly. The possibility is very high, so I asked Lin Yi to find a way to investigate the South Continent before going to the East Continent. With his strength, he won't attract the attention of the Spirit Beast clan. Moreover, he can guarantee his own safety. He is a very suitable candidate. Shanghai Tianhua nodded slightly. He already felt that the center would become a major unstable factor on the Heaven Stage Island. So he wanted to find out the details of the other party as soon as possible. Lin Yi suddenly understood why Shanghai Tianhua asked him to go to the South Island. With his combat strength, an ordinary mountain opening stage was not a match for him at all. As long as he didn't enter the Spirit Beast Forest, there was absolutely no problem for him to protect himself. On the surface, Lin Yi's strength had not reached the mountain opening stage, so he really wouldn't attract the other party's attention. The only thing he needed to worry about was the center's attention on him. However, after the mortal Vientiane was refined again, there was nothing to worry about. In this case, I'll trouble Lin Yi to go to the South Continent. As for the final preparations, we'll discuss it after you come back. Zhang Jingmiao smiled, and the way he looked at Lin Yi became more and more gentle. Senior, don't worry. I won't let you down. Lin Yi cupped his hands at Zhang Jingmiao. Then he changed the topic and asked about the Xianstep Sea area. Senior Zhang, we'll talk about the South Island later. I wonder if it's convenient for you to tell me about the Xian Steppe Sea area? In fact, I've been to the Yellow Steppe Sea area in the East Continent before, and I've always been looking forward to the Xian Steppe Sea area. This is a rare opportunity, so I'd like to ask for your advice. Of course you can. In fact, the Xian Steppe Sea area is not as mysterious as you think. It's not much different from the Yellow Steppe Sea area. It's also composed of various cities, academies, and sections. The only difference is that the spiritual qi is more intense, and there are more experts. Zhang Jingmiao nodded with a smile. She first gave a general introduction, but this kind of answer definitely wouldn't satisfy Lin Yi. Chapter 6049. Lin Yi knew that the standard of the students in the Mystic Sea Region Academy was very high, but he didn't expect that there would be a teacher at the sea-splitting stage. With the guidance of such a master, it was no wonder that the geniuses in the Yellow Sea region were fighting to enter the Mystic Sea Region Academy. In addition, there are various courses to choose from in the academy, such as alchemy, blacksmithing, formations, and so on. As long as you want to learn, there's nothing you can't learn. Shanghai Laner was very proud to introduce to Lin Yi. She spared no effort to boast about the Mystic Sea Region Academy, because she wanted Lin Yi to stay there with her. Otherwise, how boring would it be for her to be alone? Although Zhang Jingmiao loved Shanghai Laner very much, she was still her master. If she wanted to slack off and play, she couldn't just look for her master, right? That would be looking for a beating. Oh right, I heard from Lan, that you're also a very powerful alchemist. You're already at the mystic first level? Zhang Jingmiao's eyes suddenly lit up, and looked at Lin Yi with interest. Although a mystic first-level alchemist was not rare in the Mystic Sea region, such a young mystic first-level alchemist was very rare. Not to mention that Lin Yi's own combat power was also extremely amazing. If he could be accepted into Feiyang College, it would definitely not be a loss. I'm not powerful, I can only refine some pills. Lin Yi waved his hand very modestly, although he already had the title of a mystic second-level alchemist in the extreme North Island. But after all, he relied on the Shinnon Cauldron and the automatic alchemy system. So when he could keep a low profile, it was better not to be too arrogant. Really good. Our Feiyang Academy has a very complete system of elixir refinement. If you're interested, you can stay with Lan to learn a thing or two when you go to Dongzhou. I'm sure it'll be of great help to you. Zhang Jingmiao didn't directly say that she wanted to recruit Lin Yi, but everyone understood what she was trying to say. It was a shame that Zhang Jingmiao didn't know that Lin Yi's master was Zhang Liju. Otherwise, she would have changed her story. Even in the Mystic Sea region, the name of Miracle Pill Doctor wasn't something the masters of the academies could compare to. Thank you, Senior Zhang. Junior is naturally interested in such an opportunity. When the time comes, I'll still need Senior's help. Of course, Lin Yi wouldn't reject such a good opportunity. Whether or not he would stay in Feiyang College in the end, it was better to learn something useful first. A sweet smile appeared on Shanghai Laner's face. She was already very happy that Lin Yi was able to go to the East Continent with her. And now he could stay in Feiyang College with her. What could be better than this? Zhang Jingmiao was also very satisfied with Lin Yi's attitude. To be able to get a genius like this trip was definitely a great harvest. Plus, there was also Shanghai Laner, who was also very talented. If it wasn't for the fact that she had been slacking off, her strength would definitely be much higher than her peers. Senior Zhang, I'd like to ask if there are any courses in the school on spiritual sense training? Lin Yi had the Heaven's Fortune battle art to train his spiritual sense, but he had never had any systematic contact with it. It would be perfect if Feiyang College had a course on spiritual sense training. Hey, you've already started cultivating your divine sense. Zhang Jingmiao's eyes lit up, and her face showed a hint of surprise. Originally, she thought that she had already overestimated Lin Yi, but now it seemed that she had still underestimated him. In the magnate realm, although the divine sense was not the main fighting method, it could also be used as a support to increase the fighting strength. A cultivator with a powerful divine sense against a cultivator with a weak divine sense could form a complete suppression in the case of the same strength. It's just a little bit of spiritual sense. Lin Yi waved his hand modestly. He didn't say how powerful his spiritual sense was. Zhang Jingmiao didn't doubt it. Generally speaking, spiritual sense training was only started after the mountain opening stage. It was not easy for Lin Yi to be able to get a little bit of spiritual sense with his profound ascending stage strength. If she knew that Lin Yi's so-called little bit of spiritual sense was enough to crush her, how would she feel? You can cultivate spiritual sense in advance. It can be said that you're quite far-sighted. Normally, practitioners only start to cultivate spiritual sense after the mountain opening stage. In a real battle, spiritual sense can be used as a support method, and it can improve a lot of combat power. But if you want to directly use it as a means of attack or defense, you have to at least reach the sea-splitting stage. However, some practitioners who specialize in spiritual sense can be very strong in the mountain opening stage, and some geniuses in the earth opening stage can also use various spiritual sense skills. Zhang Jingmiao thought that Lin Yi might be a genius in spiritual sense. When he reached the earth opening stage, he should be the first person under the sea-splitting stage. After a slight pause, Zhang Jingmiao continued, "There are indeed courses about spiritual sense in the academy, but they are basically designed for students in the mountain opening stage, and they are also very superficial use of spiritual sense, such as assisting in fighting, making it more accurate to attack, easier to find the opponent's flaws, and releasing spiritual sense to scout the surrounding environment and find some places that are not easy to see with the naked eye and so on. So there is no teaching of spiritual sense attack or defense skills in the academy?" Lin Yi was slightly disappointed in his heart. The use of spiritual sense that Zhang Jingmiao said was indeed the most superficial thing. It could be said that it was the foundation of the foundation, and it was of no use to him at all. Compared to the small immemorial underworld, the Heaven Stage Island's spiritual sense was really too inferior. If the small immemorial underworld had the rich spiritual chi and perfect advancement resources like the Heaven Stage Island, the experts that came out of it would definitely be able to crush opponents of the same level in the Heaven Stage Island. There is no public teaching of spiritual sense skills, but there are some ancient books in the Academy's Sutra Pavilion. As long as you have enough academic credits, you can go to the Sutra Pavilion to exchange for what you want. Zhang Jingmiao saw that Lin Yi was very interested in spiritual sense skills, and immediately threw out the Sutra Pavilion as a bargaining chip. Lin Yi showed enough interest as expected. "How do I obtain academic credits? Apart from exchanging for things in the Sutra Pavilion, are there any other uses?" Of course, academic credits are equivalent to the Academy's currency, and can only be obtained by completing missions or performing well. As long as the Academy releases resources, you can exchange for them, including elixirs for cultivation, weapons, tools, cultivation techniques, and so on. You will understand these things when you arrive at the Eastern continent, and I can't explain it clearly now. Zhang Jingmiao gave a brief introduction, and waved her hand without saying anything else. Only by keeping Lin Yi in suspense would it make him want to join Feiyang College even more. Chapter 60-50. The dinner was a joyous one, and Lin Yi left with Languza, preparing to head to the King of Junk's crafting pool. The sky was already dark, and the flying saucer and red dust phenomenon should have been completed by now. As long as he got them, he'd be able to fly straight to Middle Island. However, as soon as Lin Yi and Lan Xuanyu walked out of Towering Pavilion, they saw Li Jingming pacing back and forth at the door, looking a little anxious. "Li Jingming, why are you here?" Lin Yi was surprised, but he was quite happy. He thought everyone had gone out to carry out the task with Lu Bianren, but he didn't expect that Li Jingming was still in North Island. "Boss Lin Yi, I heard you came back, so I came to wait for you." Li Jingming looked up and saw Lin Yi. He hurried to greet him, and the anxiety on his face turned into excitement. Languza had long since gotten used to Li Jingming's underlings popping out from time to time. He patted Li Jingming's shoulder casually, pointing at his own nose. "Bro, you're Li Jingming, right? I'm Languza, boss's underling. Let's get to know each other better in the future. I'm easy to get along with, as long as you take me to eat delicious food." "Hello, brother Lan." Li Jingming was slightly stunned. This big guy named Languza had a strong sense of oppression. He was definitely a master, so Li Jingming didn't dare to neglect him and greeted him politely. Lenny didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This guy really talked about food. He had just had dinner, but when he saw Li Jingming, he talked about food again. Li Jingming, what's the matter? You seem to be in a hurry. I didn't see you the last time I came here. They said you went out to do something. Did you just come back? Lenny pulled Languza aside to prevent him from interrupting again. Boss Lenny, I went to the old site of Chioshui Villa when you came back last time, so I didn't get to see you. I've been secretly investigating the massacre case of Chioshui Villa for the past 2 years. Finally, I got some clues, but I don't know what to do. I heard that you came back to the North Island, so I hurried to see you. I want to ask you for some advice. Li Jingming looked around and explained to Lenny in a low voice. Lenny suddenly realized that Li Jingming was busy with the Chioshui Villa. As the only survivor, the Chioshui Villa had become a demon in his heart. No wonder he went out alone and missed the chance to meet Lenny. It's not convenient to talk here. Let's talk after we return to Blue Cloud Pavilion. Lenny scanned with his divine senses. Although he didn't find anyone suspicious nearby, it was not appropriate to talk about such confidential matters at the gate of Towering Pavilion. Yes, boss. Li Jingming nodded. He didn't want to talk about the clues of Chioshui Villa here. It would be bad if he alerted the enemy. Originally, Lenny wanted to take Li Jingming to the cave in the casting pool. However, considering that the king of junk might have started to forge weapons and didn't want anyone to disturb him, Lenny gave up the idea. Boss, did you want to go somewhere just now? Li Jingming sensed Lin Yi's hesitation and asked in a low voice immediately. Oh, it's nothing. I was just about to go look for the garbage king. But since I ran into you, I'll go back to Clear Cloud Pavilion first. Lenny smiled faintly. There was no need to hide anything from Li Jingming. The only thing he was worried about was whether the king of junk would still have time to deal with Lin Yi after he started to forge the ghostly speed wings. This was also the reason why he wanted to take the item away as soon as possible. At least he could discuss with the king of junk on how to use it. Boss, go ahead if you have something to do. My matter isn't urgent. We can talk about it after you're done. Why don't I go to Blue Cloud Pavilion first and wait for you? Although Li Jingming was anxious, he couldn't let Lin Yi delay his business. Therefore, he let Lin Yi go first without hesitation. Lin Yi thought for a moment. With his speed, it wouldn't take long for him to go to the cave and return to Blue Cloud Pavilion. If Li Jingming walked slower, they might arrive at the same time. In this way, it wouldn't be a problem for him to go to the casting pool first. All right, you go to Blue Cloud Pavilion first and wait for me. I'll be back soon. Languza, will you come with me or go back to Blue Cloud Pavilion first? Lin Yi decided to find the king of junk first. After dealing with Li Jingming, he could fly to Middle Island directly, so that he wouldn't affect the king of junk's forging of the ghostly speed wings. It was a trump card related to Lin Yi's combat strength and life-saving ability in the future. He couldn't afford to be careless. Of course I'll follow you, boss. Brother Li Jingming, you go back first. There's nothing to eat in boss's place. Buy some food on the way. We'll have a good chat later. Languza acted like he was very familiar with Li Jingming. Lin Yi suspected that if he didn't finish all the food in that place in the afternoon, he would probably go back with Li Jingming. Li Jingming agreed. It wasn't a big deal to prepare some food. However, it was already so late. Could it be that Boss Lin Yi didn't stay for dinner when he went to visit Pavilion Master Shangguan? The three of them split up. Lin Yi led Languza forward quickly. Although he didn't use the lightning escape technique, his speed was still quite shocking. After a short while, they returned to the cave where the casting pool was. After entering the restriction, the king of junk immediately noticed the arrival of Lin Yi and Languza. He immediately came out to greet them with a smile. Brother Lin, fortunately, I didn't fail you. Your mask has successfully fused with the flying saucer and the starry sky flowing flame gold. Hurry up and take it. After exiting the cave, both of them rushed to Clear Cloud Pavilion at full speed. Moments later, they arrived at Lin Yi's residence. Surprisingly, Li Jingming was not there yet. After exiting the cave, the two rushed to the Blue Cloud Pavilion at full speed. Soon they arrived at Lin Yi's residence. Surprisingly, Li Jingming had not arrived yet. "Boss, it seems that brother Li Jingming is very kind. He knows that I like to eat, so he is buying a lot of food. He has not returned yet." Lin Yi smiled faintly, not bothering with the foodie. His consciousness spread out in the direction of the soaring pavilion to see if Li Jingming was still on the way. Unfortunately, there was no trace of Li Jingming along the way. Perhaps he really went to buy food for Languza? With this thought in mind, Lin Yi sat down and waited at ease. If Li Jingming really went to buy food, it should not take long, and he would be back soon. There was a restriction against divine sense in the market area. It was not convenient for Lin Yi to break it by force. Otherwise, he would be able to determine his location. After waiting for a while, Li Jingming still did not return. Lin Yi had a vague feeling that something was wrong. Previously, Li Jingming looked so anxious. Obviously, he was very concerned about the Qiushui villa. How could he delay so much time because of Languza's casual words? Previously, Li Jingming and Languza did not know each other at all. Naturally, he did not know how big Languza's appetite was. At most, he would buy food for 4 or 5 people. He would not buy a lot of food as Languza thought. "Languza, come with me to find Li Jingming." Lin Yi suddenly stood up with a serious expression. Under normal circumstances, Li Jingming should have been waiting for Lin Yi. Now that there was no trace of him, it was hard to say whether someone had secretly attacked him when he was investigating the Qiushui villa incident. "Okay." Languza did not say anything else, and quickly stood up. Although he did not know why Lin Yi was suddenly so nervous, he always carried out his boss's orders without asking for the reason. Just as the two of them walked out of the door, a Blue Cloud Pavilion disciple rushed over. When he saw Lin Yi, he immediately revealed a surprised expression. He increased his speed and rushed in front of the two of them with cupped fists and bowed. "Senior brother Lin Yi, you really came back. Please hurry and save senior brother Li Jingming." The Blue Cloud Pavilion disciple did not have the time to catch his breath. His breathing was a little chaotic as he spoke. Lin Yi's eyes narrowed. He raised his hand and shot out a stream of true qi to help the Blue Cloud Pavilion disciple adjust his breathing. "Don't be anxious. Tell me where Li Jingming is." When senior brother Li was buying food, for some reason, he got into a conflict with the Zhou family. After that, they broke his arms and legs and took him away.